As South Africa's politicians desperately seek to dissuade the world that anything untoward is happening in South Africa to ethnic minorities, particularly to white Afrikaners or to farmers, Boers, unfortunately for them, the inconvenient youth Julius Malema, the so-called leader or El Presidente of the Economic Freedom Fighters, a leftist, hateful party, keeps opening his mouth. And he's got Donald Trump's attention. Recently, he posted a threat to the life of President Trump and Elon Musk, which has gotten the Secret Service attention and probably means that it's not safe for Julius Malema to travel abroad anymore because the United States has extradition treaties with most countries. And I suspect there's probably a bench warrant for his arrest now over the threat to President Trump's life. The Secret Service doesn't take threats to the president's life lightly. Well, not since Biden left office anyway. Certainly took threats to President Trump's life lightly, hoping that he would be killed when Biden was in office. But now that the Secret Service is back on solid footing and doing its job protecting the protectees, including Biden and his family, perhaps they take this seriously. Meanwhile, Julius Malema, here's a montage of videos put together by President Trump tonight. But first, let's read what President Trump had to say about what Malema's been saying. This is a big deal, folks. How could we be expected to go to South Africa for the very important G20 meeting when land confiscation and G-word is the primary topic of conversation? They are taking the land of white farmers and then killing them and their families. The media refused to report on this. The United States has held back all contributions to South Africa. Is this where we want to be for the G20? I don't think so. Now, this was posted tonight, the 11th of April, 2025. Frankly, it's something that should have been posted in advance of the G20 summit in South Africa, but for some strange reason it got posted tonight. So here we are. About once a month, Trump is posting something on Truth Social or issuing an executive order. February 7th, executive order. March 7th, a Truth Social post about South Africa. Now, April 11th. So about a month apart. I'm not sure if and when this refugee program will kick off, but Malema clearly has the attention of Donald Trump, and not in a good way. Not in a good way. So here's a montage, and we'll probably comment as we go through it about what Malema has said in the past and what he said presently about land and white people and calling for their murder.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one.
Ooh.
We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not?
Well, they would be the authorities, and what you're talking about is criminally illegal. But hey, you're just a member of parliament. We wouldn't expect you to adhere to or follow the rule of law. Now, would we, Juju?
We are going to occupy land. Yeah. South African, occupy land. That's who we are. Whatever you want to do, you can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament.
Honorable member, eh? Honorable member. This is South Africa's parliament, the clown car show that is. Julius Malema calling for the expropriation of land that he doesn't own, that wasn't taken from him, all on the basis of skin color. Sounds an awful lot like the National Party and apartheid. Racist legislation. A member of parliament. This is what he's calling for. Let's continue on.
Never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
Malema says there must be killing. It's part of a revolutionary act. What revolution is this jerk talking about? What revolution? Do you want majority black rule? Didn't that happen in 1994? You want control of the economy, of government, the military, the police, the intelligence services? Didn't that happen in 1994? It did. Where was Malema? He was 10 years old.
Shoot to kill. Yamaza.
Yamaza. Shoot to kill. Kill the boy.
The farmer. Kill the poor.
Look at these idiots.
The farmer. Brr, pa. Pa. Brr, pa. Pa.
So what do you notice about this video and that audience? Pretty young, aren't they? None of these people are alive during apartheid. The only ruling they've ever known, the only governance, is the African National Congress majority black government. If they're poor, if they're miserable, if they don't have access to things they feel entitled to, killing the Boer won't solve the problem. Removing the government at the ballot box would solve the problem. But this is what happens when education standards are dumbed down to the lowest level. And demagogues like Julius Malema are allowed to incite violence, shoot loaded weapons into the air, assault police officers at funerals, and have vast undue affluence that no one ever questions with a lifestyle audit. They get away with all this. Why is that? Ask yourself that question, folks. Ask yourself that question. No threat to Boers.
the farmer.
Trump's wrong. He just doesn't get it. Trump doesn't get it. He just, using the G word. It's unfortunate. That's not really the word used here, but racial oppression is the better phrase rather than the G word. But the G word just plays in the hands of the media and leftists who deny what's actually happening here. All South Africans are victims of crime. There's no doubt about that, and particularly violent crime, especially women. But what's happening to the minorities cannot be denied, despite the claims of the government. It's not just typical crime.
The mayor of DA
This is good.
is a white man.
He was.
So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man.
Threat.
They feel a terrible pain.
The pain is
Because
constipation from you.
A white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched. Don't
He
worry.
threatened them, black men.
But we are starting with this whiteness.
Watch this. Listen
We
to
are
this.
cutting the throat of whiteness.
We are cutting the throat of whiteness. That, of course, was a reference to Athol Trollop, the former mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay. The economic freedom fighters were able to successfully collapse the coalition in Nelson Mandela Bay through their dirty, double-dealing, underhanded, corrupt politics. These people don't care about governance. They care about craven political power, self-aggrandizement, and self-enrichment. And that's what it's all about. They don't care about poor black South Africans. Don't delude yourself, folks. Don't delude yourself.
Shoot to kill. Yamaza.
This is their election campaign
Kill
launch.
the Boer. The farmer. Kill the Boer.
It's a lot chubbier there.
The farmer. Brr, pa. Pa. Brr, pa.
Once again, I draw your attention to the age of the people in the crowd. These are not people who suffered under apartheid. These are people who suffered under the ANC. And they blame white farmers and white South Africans for their misery. Disingenuous, cognitive dissonance, just outright lies and propaganda. Blame the culprit. That's the ANC.
Shoot to kill. Yamaza.
Look at that crowd.
Kill the Boer. The farmer. Kill the Boer. The farmer. Brr, pa. Pa. Brr, pa. Pa.
Thousands. Tens of thousands gathered in that stadium to gleefully see murdering white people. But there's no threat. Trump is wrong. There's nothing going on in South Africa. It's just a heritage song. They're just sharing their heritage. Of course, none of them lived through this experience. They're all under 30 years of age. Wow. And this classic here from Julius Malema threatening the lives of white people. So we're not going to kill them. Not yet. Of course, the implied threat is that's coming one day.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies.
Crybabies. You're talking about the murder of innocent people because of the color of their skin. More white farmers have now been killed than black activists during the entire apartheid period. And the ANC has ruled for a shorter period than the National Party did from 1948 to 1994. And more white farmers and their families have been murdered on farms than activists were killed during that period of state control. But there's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Nothing at all. Just a fantasy of Donald Trump. Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa. This was the president of South Africa singing to murder farmers. Now, arguably, you could argue that maybe this was more of a heritage setting, certainly more than Malema. At least Zuma was a member of Umkhonto we Sizwe, the Spirit of the Nation. Actually was the intelligence chief. He actually was in the struggle. So maybe give him, but his crowd of little 20-year-olds dancing out there pretending soldiers? No. This is hateful rhetoric meant to frighten and intimidate in a domestic terrorist fashion. Shameful.
Will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refuge in America.
We'll expropriate land with no compensation, whether they like it or not. If they don't like it, they can seek refugee status in America. Can it be any more obvious? Can it be any more plain? Can it be clearer? What's happening here in South Africa is a race war. promoted by black supremacists, bigots, and racists. What else is it? Those who want a rainbow nation of blacks, whites, and browns living in harmony together, all being undermined by this hateful rhetoric. And Donald Trump's wrong. He got it all wrong. He's mistaken. Of course, the problem with Donald Trump is he mentions farmers and the G word, which people use to rubbish the actual threats to all South Africans, black, white, and brown. This doesn't help anybody. Julius Malema has put himself in a very bad spot, and he doesn't seem to be bright enough to understand what he's done. His threats against the life of the President of the United States have gotten the attention of the Secret Service, and now he's squarely in the attention of the President of the United States. Not a place he wants to be. Ask the Houthis. Not a good spot to be in, Julius. You may not want to go to the French Riviera on holiday. We do have an extradition treaty with them. And you have committed a crime in America. Well, what say you, folks? What say you? Cheers.